Welcome to today's Wednesday webinar, where we will share some information to help you create videos to use in your teaching, including best practices and some useful tips. With me today are Sasha Johnson, Mark Cooper, Ryan Randall, and Paul Lynch. And to start off, Sasha is going to present some common use cases where video would be effective to present content in a course.
Thank you, Kim. So instructional videos are typically a critical aspect of online courses. And since we're talking about best practices for video delivery, we are going to start with some cases where video can augment your courses and instruction. So videos can be crucial for showing your students that they're not alone in the void out there that is the internet. You and your students can post introduction videos at the start of a course to help foster a learning community. This helps you get to know your students, it helps them get to know you a little bit, and it also helps them get to know each other. So an instructor introduction video in an online course creates that sense of connection, and it presents you as professional, but also approachable. You can also use short videos to introduce students to the course format and how learning will occur throughout the course. A course introduction video gives students a general overview of the course. You can present a schedule of activities. You can communicate information about prerequisite knowledge that students need to be successful in your course, but we want to avoid restating information that already exists that students can get from the syllabus because they can read that on their own, but you may want to emphasize certain pieces of your syllabus in your video. You can also use videos to introduce new modules or weeks throughout the course. I like to think of these as bridge videos. So you are bridging the gap between what we did last week and what we're going to do this week. And it helps tie things together for students and see how they're going to apply the information that they got in the previous week to the coming week. Instructor and course introduction videos also are a best practice because they help satisfy specific review standards within the 6th edition of the Quality Matters Higher Education rubric, which ISU does subscribe to. Another use case is for student presentation. So students can use video to present material, and it could be a presentation on a specific topic that they research. It could be a mock interview, or it could be some other project where students are demonstrating their mastery of the course learning outcomes via video. Micro lectures are another way that you can use video to provide instruction for your students. For example, you can use video to demonstrate how to perform a specific skill or how to apply specific knowledge from a module in little short micro lectures. Some things to consider when using videos include thinking about whether the video is time sensitive. So I've heard this referred to as disposable, but we like to think of it as semester specific or just in time resources for students. So these could be recordings where you provide individual feedback on a paper or project or group feedback for the class as a whole. Or you could provide a recording where you highlight key points from a discussion forum that you want students to definitely come away from that discussion with. The bridge videos that I mentioned previously also could fit here because they may be semester specific. So that semester specific video asset is too specific to be used over multiple semesters or courses because it may reference course dates, sections, terms, and it has to be recreated each time you teach the course, which requires additional prep time and work. On the other hand, some recordings may be reusable. So the micro lecture recordings and things like worked examples where you chunk content into meaningful sections can be reused across semesters and courses. Reusability has that advantage of not having to create multiple or last-minute videos each time the course is taught. And to create a reusable video asset, you want to be sure to avoid mentioning certain details that might apply to just a single offering of a course, such as semesters and specific dates, course names and numbers. And you may also want to avoid referencing textbook pages because you may change editions or textbook authors in different semesters. And so if you refer to those specific page numbers, they may be outdated. Another consideration to think of is length. I did mention micro lectures, and best practice is to keep those short and focused. And some researchers suggest 3 to 5 minutes for micro lectures. And that's not to say that longer videos don't have a place in online courses. It's just best practice to keep them shorter and more focused on specific topics or skills. So we don't want to take a 60-minute lecture and just dump that into our online course. We want to pull out the salient aspects of it and put those into the video. So that helps us think about where we're going to add value to the instruction by using video. Using the video to make those connections for students or provide worked examples. And rather than repeating the same information students are getting from the textbook, we want to inject our expertise, right? How is what you're delivering via video going to augment what learners are getting from the other course materials? We want you to draw on your experiences and share your passion with your students. And the last consideration I have here is choosing the right tool to record your videos. So the Moodle editor has a couple of video editing or recording options that you can choose from for the just-in-time recordings or those semester-specific recordings. So the first icon that's highlighted there is the little video camera icon, and that is the built-in video recorder in Moodle, and it has a 2-minute time limit. So this would be something that's good for providing quick feedback to specific students or just those bridge videos or group-specific videos. The other recorder option in here is the Loom recorder, and it allows you to record up to 5 minutes if you're on the basic account. And you can also get a free education account through your ISU Gmail, and that will let you record longer videos. But one thing to keep in mind with these two tools is they do not support automatic transcription for closed captions. So when you're recording longer videos, you want to use a different tool, and perhaps one that does support that, which would be something like Zoom, where you can record to the cloud and enable the transcription feature so that you can have those closed captions, at least an AI version of those closed captions for your students. And that helps to ensure that as many learners as possible can access your information and instruction. Feel free to reach out to any of us at the ITRC if you have any questions on the types of recorders or any other questions on how to deliver your recordings in your course. We'd be happy to help. And now I will pass it off to Mark, who's going to talk more in depth about production considerations.
Thank you, Sasha. Okay, so in terms of video production, we're going to talk today about some tips and tricks that you can use to improve your videos through lighting, camera, and sound. So let's begin with how you would do that through lighting. Okay, first of all, you want to make sure that you're lighting from the front and not from behind, and that the primary light source is coming from the front. And this way it's illuminating your face, as opposed to the other image here where it looks like you're in the witness protection program. You could use a 3-point lighting technique. And I know that this sounds like I'm asking you to set up a professional studio, and I'm not doing that. You could use some of the items in your office or in your home office to come up with a 3-point lighting scheme. And that is, you have a key light, which is the primary light in front of you, and it's the brightest and it illuminates you the most. Then you have a fill light, and this is also placed in front of you, kind of off to the side, and this is used to fill in any shadows that the key light might create. And finally, there's a backlight, and the backlight is placed behind you so that it gives a separation between you and your background. Now, this can be easily set up in your office using a combination of desk lamps and table lamps and floor lamps. So don't think that you have to go out and spend a ton of money on professional lighting equipment. And actually, some webcams now have a built-in key light. You could find those on Amazon for less than $25. Let's talk a little bit about soft light. So you want to make sure that you're using soft light instead of hard light. And soft light is bright, it brings balance, and it gives you fewer strong shadows, as opposed to the hard light, which can be very dramatic. And then you don't want to make sure that you're not just relying on overhead lighting, because that can cause like some harsh lighting as well. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the camera. In positioning your camera, you want to position yourself near the camera. And so in this illustration here, we have 2 feet away, 3 feet away, and 6 feet away. And so it's important to be close enough to the camera to be able to use that space effectively. And the further away that you are from the camera, your face and your facial features become harder to distinguish. the good rule here is about 2 feet away. You want to make sure that you're keeping your eyes on the camera. Look directly at the camera and when you speak, and not your screen or your keyboard as you talk and type. So when you look directly at the camera, you're speaking directly to your students. Pay attention to the background, and you'll find a plain, solid background. A lighter color background works better than a darker one. And you want to avoid wearing clothes that are similar to your background, as you can see in this image here. So you want to wear contrasting colors to the backgrounds that you have chosen. And finally, we'll talk about sound. And with sound, you want to make sure that you're preparing your recording environment and noticing everything that's within your camera. So you want to find a quiet place that's distraction-free to record your video. And recording in public rarely makes a good recording location. You want to consider potential distractions in the environment. So if you're recording this from home, you want to make sure that your door is shut so that the recording doesn't pick up kids in the background or a dog barking or any other distraction. And then the same with the office. The office has the potential of people talking around you, the phone. So you want to minimize those distractions, turn off your ringers while you're doing your recording. And all of these factors can affect the overall quality of your recording or distract your students as they're watching your video. So if you need a dedicated recording space on the Pocatello campus, you can visit the ITRC lab. We have a recording studio / edit bay that you can check into to do your recording, and that's in the lower level of the ISU library. Another way to produce good quality sound is to invest in a good quality microphone. You might not want to rely on the built-in microphones on your laptops or your desktops to always deliver the best sound. A good USB external microphone will produce good quality, rich sound. And when I say good quality, that doesn't necessarily mean expensive. So I use a microphone, it's called a Samson Meteor mic, and you could find that on Amazon for less than $50. Okay, and finally, you want to keep a good distance between yourself and the microphone. And so this may vary depending on preference. And so I've seen it where some folks say, keep it at about an arm's length. And that's kind of where I'm going right now with the distance from my microphone. But also some people go with the rule of going with the pinky and the thumb. So the pinky is pointing at the microphone and the thumb is at your mouth. And that's kind of the distance that you want to go to. So whatever personal preference, try out both, see which one produces a better quality sound for you. So up next, Ryan is going to talk about how you can achieve communicative quality in your videos.
Great, thank you, Mark. So what we will talk about now is preparing. So communicative clarity in terms of before you start recording. So what I'd highly recommend you do is outline your thoughts. If you're doing one of the shorter videos, one of those 3 to 5 minute videos, you almost certainly won't have as many thoughts as we see in this image. If you are doing one of the longer, more reusable ones, you might. And so you might want to think about how you will communicate this outline to your students. And I'll tell you more about that with the next slide. But think about how you're going to present your ideas and organize them so that someone who's mostly hearing them audibly will be able to understand your intentions. Related to that, make sure to prioritize your learning outcomes and don't overly clutter your content. So I try to think of videos as much as possible when I'm doing them. Think of them as like a 3-minute pop song, as quick and to the point as possible. There's places for long sprawling works. Those might not be the best way for people to learn. So I'd avoid clutter as much as possible and really try to streamline. And you can make multiple videos, each one refined for a small targeted outcome for your students. And what you could also do is, if you prefer to work from a script, a full script really easily can be turned into a transcript. So even if you don't have a student who has an ADA accommodation and who will end up having full captions and transcriptions, any learner will be able to benefit from being able to read a transcript. People with executive function disorders, ADHD, dyslexia, many different people have mentioned that even if they don't know yet that they have some sort of processing disorder, many students benefit from the additional reinforcement of reading while also listening or watching a video. So if you do a full script, that will help you stay on a very focused path instead of going on digressions. And it will also more easily be turned into a transcript for your learners. What I tend to do if I'm doing this, I'll actually make a very small text window right underneath my camera because I have a laptop with the web camera built into the top. And so to make sure that my eyes are as close to the viewer as possible, I'll make just a few pixels large, and then I'll scroll down piece by piece of the transcript of the script. And that usually helps me go slower as I'm speaking. So these are some of the tips and tricks that you might learn for yourself as you go through and practice. So as for recording, signpost your structure. So as Sasha said earlier about making sure to think about the different use cases of your videos, some of them you want to have be very succinct and to the point. Others might be a little bit longer. The ones that are longer, I'd highly recommend you involve more signposting. With one example here in this particular video, we have many different slides that help you know which different topics we're talking about. So if you are going to make one of those longer videos, you might consider having some way for students who want to click through to quickly be able to see as they're using a scroll bar, which portion of the video they're looking at. You also, as I'm doing now, can reference earlier and past parts of the video by saying, oh, this is what Paul talked about. This is what Mark talked about. This is what Sasha talked about. These kind of signposts really help students synthesize the ideas and see the different connections between ideas in your video. Another thing I highly recommend that you do is speak slowly and clearly. As I was just saying earlier, having one of those transcripts helps me speak more slowly and clearly. I put as many line breaks as I possibly can in that to make sure that I'm going slowly. This image helps remind me of speaking slowly. It's not the best image for camera position though. You'd probably be seeing her, mostly her chin and her nostrils, which few people I imagine would want to learn from. But this is a very good image for reinforcing that you might want to go slow and enunciate as you're recording. Finally, you might have noticed I'm someone who just naturally talks with my hands quite a bit. And these sort of gestures not only help to humanize you, they can also help reinforce your meaning. You might enumerate things if you have 1, 2, 3 points in a video. If you might say on one hand, people do love to speak with their hands, other people makes them feel like a Muppet. You can use these sort of gestures to help reinforce your points. So if it feels natural to you, I'd recommend that you lean into it. If you're someone for whom that's not natural, see if it's something that you might use to help augment the way that you communicate your meaning to your learners in videos. So next, Paul will have time for any questions and answers.
Great, thank you, Ryan. So if you'd like to learn more, we have a variety of resources available. You can simply scan the QR code on the screen to access the links you see here, or you can also access those resources with a link that I'm going to be placing in chat right now. Our Tiger Tracks knowledge base is a library of how-tos at your fingertips. We also have a library of short walkthrough videos on various topics in our ITRC video library that you can find on our YouTube channel. And you're always welcome to meet with us at the ITRC. You can email us at itrc@isu.edu. You can give us a call at 208-282-5880. Or our front lab is open if you want to drop in. We're in room B17 in the basement of the Bowler Library. And as Mark mentioned earlier, that's where our recording and editing setup is if you'd like to come in and utilize that resource. Watch for more ITRC webinar announcements in ISU Today and the ISU events calendar. You can register for future Wednesday webinars at this link. And thank you for joining us today.